I am a daughter of the between. I'm a half Rwandese, half Ugandan woman who was born in Illinois, raised partly in Zambia, and who has spent the last 5 years living between New York City and Lagos, Nigeria, as a professional vocalist, songwriter, and cultural worker. My entire life, I struggled with fitting into one box, category, or label, until eventually I realized that to stand in the between, particularly as an African artist, is to stand in privilege. You see, I often wondered if I would have had the courage to become an artist had I been a young girl coming of age in Kampala in the 1980s. No matter how many ways I try to imagine what might have been of that story, the answer is probably no. Not just because I may not have had the good fortune of private cello lessons and creative writing camps, but because to stand in the between means neither I nor my creative practice are bogged down by visas, geography, societal expectations, or failed ministries of culture. It means that I get to frequently visit and try to represent my beloved continent while enjoying the spoils of a well-developed cultural economy in the West. Each time I take a trip home, I bear witness to the many brilliant African artists who've spent the majority of their careers and lives largely unseen, unheard, never setting foot on the global cultural stage. Why is that? How is that possible? If there is one post-colonial trapping of the developing world that we have yet to sublimate on the African continent, it is our failure to invest in our homegrown creative economies in unprecedented, paradigm-shifting, and sustainable ways. Can you name a major performing arts center on the African continent that is as hallowed as, say, a Carnegie Hall or the Kennedy Center? A festival as legendary as Monterey or Newport? A major art museum or gallery that presumes an artist's arrival? I'm going to assume most of us cannot, not that we don't have venues, festivals, galleries, museums, etc. We do. But those that are there have neither age nor agency to be globally recognized in such a way. That is why I am committed not just to being an artist, but to making space, figuratively and literally, for other African artists who have not been able to stand in the between in privilege. I realize that to stand in the between is to also offer a bridge that is both bidirectionally cognizant of otherness and unbridled by stagnant views of modern African cultural production. Oh, how I aspire to be that bridge. In the 1958 novel, Things Fall Apart, Chinua Achebe wrote, quote, "A man who calls his kinsmen to a feast does not do so to save them from starving. They all have food in their own homes. When we gather together in the moonlit village ground, it is not because of the moon. Every man can see it in his own compound. We come together because it is good for kinsmen to do so." It is an exciting time to be an African artist. The African continent needs long-standing institutional footing committed to international creative alliances and local artistic agency. This performance is dedicated to the expression and promise of the throngs of impassioned African artists who should no longer have to vie for the between, but who could continue to stand exactly where they are, in the moonlight and feasting together. Thank you.